Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're doing good. I hope you had a great weekend. Another information guys, we don't release any videos on Sundays. Sunday is a holiday. However, if there are any news on Sundays, important news, that shall be covered in the upcoming weekdays. Okay, so let's go on to the first news of the day. Ahead of Khalistan rally, India announces Guru Fete. Now, what is this Khalistan rally, guys? A protest in London at Trafalgar Square by a US-based group called Sikhs for Justice are demanding for a non-binding referendum for a Sikh homeland. Now, they want a separate Sikh nation, guys. Okay, separate country altogether. Now, as a counter to this, another group attended a rally at the other side of the square with placard and slogans of Sikhs for United India and We Stand for One United Strong India. Now, when Indian government actually asked British government regarding this, British government replied saying that people had right to gather and express views provided it is done within the purview of law. So what government did as a counter move, now the Minister of External Affairs has declared that all Indian diplomatic missions are to celebrate 550th birthday anniversary of Guru Nanak, who is the founder of Sikh faith. Now, this is planned and this is done to unite all Sikhs for the United India cause. ISRO set to launch its TV channel. Now, ISRO is planning an year-long Vikram Sarabhai centenary celebration, the 100-year celebration of his birth. And on this occasion, ISRO is planning to roll out a dedicated TV channel. Now, what is the use of this dedicated TV channel? What would it do? What it does? Now, showcasing space applications, developments and science issues is the primary objective. Now, this would target young viewers and people in remote areas in their language, not in English or any other languages, but in their language. Okay. Now, some tidbits regarding Vikram Sarabhai. He was born on August 12th, 1919. He was a visionary and the architect of Indian space programs. A first ISRO chief and also a renowned cosmic ray scientist, guys. Now, here is a list of ISRO's missions in the next 3 years. Now, I shall not be explaining this, but I shall explain these in the future when these very missions shall be implemented on the ground. Next one. Small Indian launch vehicle. Now, it's a big news, guys. It's a very big news. Now, India has come up with small satellite launching vehicle. We had our PSLVs, GSLVs, which carried bigger loads. But however, India has come up with this small satellite launching vehicle. Now, this launching vehicle was made in 3 days only and by a lesser workforce at 10% of current costs. Okay, now these small satellite launching vehicle can carry small satellites weighing 500 to 700 kgs. What are the features of this? Autonomous and intelligent, versatile. That means it can carry any or many kinds of satellites into the space, and it is also capable of adapting to different launch situations and requirements. Now, ISRO is actually planning to do the first test launch in mid of 2019. Alright, now what are the advantages of this? Now, this can be a game changer in international space market where developing and even developed countries are looking for a cost-effective space programs. Now, all these developing countries can't afford to do business with NASA or European Space Agency, which are very costlier. Okay, now India can be a leader in the outer space market with these lower budget space programs, guys. So this is very important. The next one. Are foreign direct investments at an ebb? Ebb means to reverse. Okay, now what is this foreign direct investment, guys? Now, foreign companies investing in India on a long-term basis is called foreign direct investments. Okay, now as per the UNCTAD survey, UNCTAD stands for United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Now, as per their survey, observation is made that FDI doesn't depend on the government, regardless whether it is BJP or Congress. It doesn't depend on that. Rather, it depends on two other things. The first thing is GDP of the country, and the second thing is global financial market conditions. Now, how GDP, guys? When the GDP of the nation increases, it indicates growth, in that nation. So all these companies look at it as an opportunity. They see that as the nation is growing, if they invest in that nation, they will also grow. Hence, with the rise in GDP, the FDI will also increase. And in 2009, when the GDP of India fell, FDI also fell. Okay, so it is directly proportional to the GDP of the country. And next, global financial market conditions, guys. Though there was an increase in India's GDP of late, but FDI was still low because the overall investment itself is low in the world market. Means native companies are reluctant to invest in other countries. Now, in this survey report, guys, you can just pause this video for a few seconds and you can go through it. You can see that in 2016, though percentage of FDI increased from 2.4 to 2.8, the flow of money actually fell from $44.4 billion to $39.9 billion. This indicates that though there is an increase in FDI, however, the percentage of or the investment from the foreign countries has fallen down. That means the world market is also responsible for the FDI flow. Okay, war of the currency kind. Now we know about trade war, guys, wherein a country A slaps import duties on country B, which affects the economy of the country B. Now we know trade war. Now what is this currency war? Currency war is triggered when nation either allows their currency to weaken appreciably or devalue them. Now what is devaluation? It's a policy tool, guys, to reduce the value of the currency relative to other currencies in a fixed exchange rate. It's different from depreciation. Okay, don't confuse this with depreciation. Depreciation is the fall in currency value due to demand and supply. But whereas in devaluation, it is done deliberately. Okay, now what is the use of devaluation, guys? It will boost exports. Now, when an Indian company exports its goods to, let's say, a foreign company, to a foreign land, and when our Indian goods hits the foreign market, our goods will be much cheaper than other goods. Hence, Indian goods are sold more. So, there will be a boost in exports. Okay, and it will also make imports expensive, because when our Indian businessmen buy from the Chinese manufacturers, the cost becomes higher when the money is devalued. So when the cost becomes higher, people in India will not choose that product. They will instead choose the product which are lesser in price manufactured by the Indian manufacturers. Okay, so this will help domestic manufacturers and also reduce trade deficit, guys, because exports will be higher, imports will be lesser. So reduction in trade deficits, which would lead towards the trade surplus. Okay, and the third advantage is it would reduce debt servicing. What is debt servicing? Debt servicing is paying back the interests for the loans which Indian government has taken from foreign institutions. Okay. Now, when the Indian manufacturers earn high, they can pay more tax to the Indian government. Now, when Indian government receives more tax, they can pay back the loans of the financial institutions much quicker. The next news. Undoing a legacy of injustice. Now, the Delhi High Court has struck down a Bombay Prevention of Begging Act of 1959, guys. Now, this very begging act was influenced by British Criminal Tribal Act. Now, this was done to control nomadic tribes, to restrict their movements, tax them, and then subject them to forced labor. Okay. Now, this Bombay Prevention of Begging Act is simply not to criminalize the act of begging, but to target groups and communities whose lifestyle doesn't fit within mainstream culture like a settled job. Now, we see most of these bhikshus or these saints, sannyasis who go from doors to door collecting alms as foods, who have basically renounced this world, right? Now, they are equated with the beggars, guys, and they are punished and penalized for that. Okay, now Delhi High Court said that it's against Article 14, equality before law, and Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. As it's against Constitution, it was struck down. Now, High Court has asked Legislative Assembly instead to come up with measures of rehabilitation and integration of vulnerable and marginalized section. So that's it for the day, guys. Do not fail to share this with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a great day, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.